But why would we want to simplify a building? Isn't the ornamentation and the detail something that we want to draw? Well, quite possibly, but I can think of 3 good reasons why simplifying a building's detail could be a really helpful skill to develop. The first is time. We don't always have time to capture all the detail. The second is that it lets us draw a building that we otherwise might not have the confidence or the expertise to draw. And thirdly, it's a great learning process to learn to look at something, to simplify it down to the essentials, and then to work on drawing those essentials accurately. I see many drawings where the underlying bones of the building haven't been captured correctly. And that means no matter how well the ornamentation is put on, the more basic problems in the drawing are always going to be obvious. So, what lovely grand building are we going to look at simplifying? Here's our reference of Notre Dame. There is a wonderful richness of detail on this facade. But my very first suggestion is, if possible, don't use too large a reference that shows too much of the detail too clearly. It's easier to simplify the detail if we can't see it as well ourselves to begin with. So my suggestion is print off a smaller copy. This already now makes it easier for us to see the fundamental structure of the building and the important lines and tones and contrasts to capture. Now, this is a building that's divided into horizontal bands as well as vertical ones. So it's a bit of a grid effect. The first section is the one from this cornice above the statues of the kings of France. So now I want to position where these sculptures are across the middle. I'm looking at this size here and wanting to get that proportion. And that's enough of this lower section for now. I think it'd be good to just capture something of these statues. Now, we're not trying to draw the figures, we're trying to draw the shadows around them really, because that's what's more obvious to see. Now, we have this row of the kings of France. There's a lot of detail there, so how can we simplify it? It's important to move briskly when we're doing a simplification. It helps us to not get bogged down. This will be the most fiddly thing that we do. How's that? Now we'll do this next section, which goes up to here. So from here to here, it's a bit less than from here to here. So these handy horizontal and vertical divisions. So we're aiming for quick lines to capture the feel. Now we'll do this rose window. I should have drawn this rail in before I did the building behind it, sadly. Now we need to be really quick with this rose window. We could easily get bogged down. Now we go up a level, and this level is about from there to there, about from there to there. So we're looking at this. just allowing for some of the perspective of looking up. Now this section is probably a little bit trickier than some. The important thing is to keep the scale with this not too large. And we want to keep our spacing as even as we can. Now I'm not trying to match up those. Remember, we're just going for the effect. And that will do for those. So now as we race up to our towers, how do we simplify these? From here to here, okay, from here to there, it's about that with a bit more added on. So I think it's going to be about there. Again, we're not drawing the form here, we're drawing the shadows. Very quick, very gestural, suggesting the detail there in the rails. The most important thing with these towers, I think, is to get the width of these darker sections the right proportion. So we establish those, then we'll fit all the detail that goes around them to fit that. And here's our first tower almost complete. This is where we really need to avoid getting bogged down now. There's a fair bit of detail here we could do. And now the most important thing is that we create the sense of symmetry. G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. Not every day in Australia is wonderful and sunny. We need our rain as well. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful, please hit subscribe, hit notifications, or leave a comment telling me what you would like me to cover in future videos. All these things are very helpful for the operation of my channel. Back to Notre Dame. The left side tower is actually 1 meter wider than the right side tower. Now we have the side sections to do. It's a bit hard to guess how long this has taken. Take out the talking, probably more like about 15 minutes so far. I think I want to just suggest that there are sculptural elements in these. One of the things that's, I think, quite characteristics of Notre Dame are all the little baubles, as I call them, on the building. So it's good just to quickly apply a few of those, particularly on these silhouette sections where they're going to stand out. We don't actually even need to put them everywhere. How's this for a quick simplified Notre Dame? It's not that I haven't put detail in it, but I've simplified it and I've paid more attention to getting the actual proportions of the structure correct. And then I've very quickly and very gesturally added lines to indicate the detail. And you'll see I'm working at creating the effect of the detail. I haven't drawn figures here. I've basically gone and then done something like that with a line drawn through there. And I've done those very quickly in a straight line. And what I have tried to draw is in fact the shadows. I've made no effort to reproduce the complexity or the actual detail of the rose window. I've suggested a rose window. At this point, what would I do? Well, I might... This is where I might just work at emphasizing the more fundamental lines of the building. And if we wanted to, we could throw a few people, a few tourists in front. There we have it, simplified version of Notre Dame, trying to capture an accurate sense of proportion in a short period of time and add just enough detail that will suggest the detail that's on the building without getting bogged down in trying to represent it accurately. I will put this reference on my community page, so if you would like to have a go at drawing a quick simplified view of Notre Dame, you can. What do you think of this style of drawing? Do you prefer this to more careful, considered drawing? Let me know in the comments. However you draw, have fun. See you next time. Bye.